I think we need to have a little chat regarding how WWE is currently turning itself into a bigger commercial than what it used to be. You know, obviously when Vince was in charge, there were a few things where certain segments were sponsored by whatever. You know, Snickers, presented WrestleMania and all this kind of stuff. But recently, when they got bought by TKO a couple of years back, things started happening which a lot of people were a bit like, do we really want to see this happening? And obviously we are talking about sponsorships, and don't get me wrong, when you see a sponsor in the middle of the ring, it's like if you're a fan of boxing, MMA, kickboxing, any other type of combat sport, hell, even, NFL, NHL, football, everything else, there's always sponsors, always. But this seems to be going over everything else, apart from NASCAR maybe. Now again, obviously being a Brit, being Welsh, we don't really have NASCAR over here in the UK, but what we do know about NASCAR is obviously how much sponsorships go for, and that a car is literally just plastered with them. And that seems to be the way of WWE and how it's moving forward. If we're going to look at something, we want to see something that is engaging. We don't want something that is an eyesore. And to be honest with you, a lot of the promotion that we've seen from WWE, perfect example for me is WrestleMania. That ring looked god awful. You had the fatal fight or whatever it was in the middle, and you had all these other ones, and it looked tatty. It didn't look great. But they've seemed to have gone above and beyond to make things look more nightmare than, oh my god, this is a dream. So let's take a look at this. So this is actually from Outkick. WWE looks more like NASCAR as Slim Jim sponsored tables are introduced. I can already hear Pat McAfee. John Cena goes under the ring, pulls out the Slim Jim table, brought to you by everyone's favorite meat snack sticks and jerky, Try the new hot barbecue flavor now in convenience stores everywhere. You can't make it up, an almost parody-like situation. Adweek has announced that WWE and Slim Jim have extended their partnership that will now see the famous beef jerky both as a center ring logo sponsor, as well as being featured on all wrestling folding tables for its Raw, SmackDown, and NXT events. And obviously we got this guy by who's put this out, which is absolutely hilarious, but it actually looks something like they would probably do this. And you're going to see people go through these like, oh my god, gone through the Slim Jim table. Why? There's literally no need to have this on there. And just going back to the actual article, it does say, man, it's absolutely insane. That bloody wrestler going through the table is really putting me in the mood for plastic meat sticks, but I'm not sure why. This is in addition to plenty of other sponsor logos and images around the once fabled blue canvas of the ring, as the WWE continues to look more and more like a NASCAR driver's race car every passing week. This has been the case ever since its new TKO partners took over majority control of the promotion, as well as a massive Netflix deal that kicked off this past January. That's another thing I want to bring up. So, when obviously Netflix, everything else here in the UK, SmackDown, everything is on Netflix for them, when you're on Raw and you're watching it, you actually hear, Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, or whoever's on commentary at the time, they will start stating a ad sponsor, they'll start talking about it, and Netflix cut it off. And we found out the reason for that. It was because, well, if Netflix are cutting them off, it's because Netflix does not get a penny of that sponsorship. Excuse me? Netflix, you are the ones who just paid an obscene amount of money to TKO and WWE to have their flagship shows, and then NXT, their PLEs, everything on that platform. But because you're not getting a penny from sponsors, you're muting the actual content that you paid for. Make it make sense. But as you can see by here, it does say though, extending our partnership during Monday Night Raw will give us more opportunities to create unique and memorable experiences that tap into the rich history and energy of both Slim Jim and WWE. VP and GM of snacks at ComeWrestleSome brands. But the thing is as well, you got Slim Jim. It is going to be the main logo in the mat for Monday Night Raw, and I believe some PLEs, not every one. But like I said, WrestleMania this year was an absolute nightmare of a ring mat. It looked disgusting. And you got more there. The beautiful sport we all love is gone. LMAO, there are going to be so many table spots moving forward. Exactly. I suppose that's one thing we can look forward to, that they're going to put a lot more people through tables. I'll take a Slim Jim over Logan Paul's Garbage Prime any day. Thank God for AEW and Stardom Wrestling. Yeah, but you can see, Prime, they were the first ones to do it. WrestleMania 40, it was them. But as it does state there, all future PLEs going forward, they weren't for Mania, so it may have just been for the 1 year. But listen, as a huge and lifelong fan who has worked for some of the biggest wrestling-related media entities, this stinks as much as a Slim Jim left out in your car on a 100-degree day. Sure, I understand that the promotion's parent company, TKO Holdings, is primarily driven by bringing in as much revenue as possible, which is very true, we've seen all of this, but it sickens a lot of people because when you have all the LED ring surroundings, on the LED boards on the ring now instead of what it used to be, which was the aprons, which the aprons used to look awesome. They used to have so many specialized ones made. It made each event seem special in its own and unique way. For me still, the WrestleMania 17, 18, 19, those ring aprons, they looked awesome. And now it's just LED boards because, well, for one, it's cheaper. They can put whatever brand they want on it. They can literally just say, all right, Snickers on it. Or, if we go back to WrestleMania this year, put Clash of Clans on it. Why? It has gone the way now too much, I think, that TKO, they do not see WWE as entertainment and all that kind of stuff. They just see it as another entity which they can make money off. That is literally it. And that sucks. Because with WWE, even though when Vince was running the place, it didn't exactly look great. But some of the matches were amazing. And there was none of this, right, we're going to have logos over every single bit of the arena. Where, oh my god, this guy just used a Slim Jim packet on someone. There was no plugs for commercials. And like we said, it does seem to be now that WWE is literally nothing but a commercial with a few wrestling moves sprinkled in. That's what it feels like at this moment. I just hope that, well, they see that this is turning a lot of people off, especially with the prices of these events as well now. What was it? SummerSlam this year for the 2 nights, if you want a premium front row seats, it's like 40 grand. $40,000 just to sit front row and watch something which you can watch front row from your own home and save 40 grand. It's absolutely ridiculous to see how much prices have gone for these tickets, but that's going to be another video for another day. But folks, let us know what you think about this down below because, well, it's absolutely terrible. It's disgusting to see that they think now that these people, the ones who watch wrestling, the ones who love wrestling, they'll just see it and they'll just, yeah, look at this slop. Because that's exactly what it is. All these advertisements do not need to be center ring or splattered around the place. It wouldn't surprise me if we see ladders being, sponsored by Home Depot or some stuff like that. Let us know down below, folks, and I'll see you soon.